Hello and welcome to Aayu Pathshala. In this video, we are going to talk about the updates on the interview schedule of the DCIO technical for the student who has been already been selected, and also what are the expectations in 2026 about the new vacancies that are expected. Also, the introduction to the course that we have launched on our mobile application that can be downloaded from the Play Store. What would be the structure of the course, how we are going to proceed with the course of DCIO Technical. That is what we are going to discuss in today's video. Let us begin. So, as you all know that for the existing recruitment process that is ongoing for the DCIO Technical, the exam was conducted on in the month of October, and against the vacancy 07 in the month of that was posted in the month of July 2025, vacancy number ending with 16614, I guess. So, against this, the list of the candidates selected for the interview schedule are already out, and out of them, there were 51 students who were selected, and some of them were provisionally selected. As the it has been the norms of the UPSC to give a chance to the student who have been qualified on in the examination, either prelims or on the basis of the document they have submit, but they have been they're lacking of some document, or there is a mismatch in the parent's name or their candidate name. Or the mismatch in the names presented by the candidate. So UPSC provides them an opportunity to submit the original documents or the affidavit or whatever the supportive document they can present to justify their claim. And accordingly, in this case also, as you might all be knowing that 28th 01 2026 was given as the deadline for the submission of the document for the those students or candidates who were provisionally elected for the for selected for the interviews of DCIO technical. Now, since then already 15 days has passed. Now it is expected that in the last week of this month, that is in the last week of this month, of this February, the interview schedules will be out, and the interviews would likely to be held in mid of March. In mid of March, the interviews are going to be held, and by the end of April, or you can say if the interviews are held in the mid of March, then in the first week of April, and if the interviews are going to held at the end of the month of the March, then likely to be in the second last week of April, the results are going to be declared. Then, as the trend we have seen in the last 2 years for this post of DCIO technical, we have seen that near about June, July, the vacancies, new vacancies are out. Last year also in the month of July the notification was out. Also in the previous to that year in the month of June the notification was out. So it is expected that if the process is getting completed by the month of April, so by June new vacancies are going to come again, and this post is now becoming more of a regularized vacancies, wherein we have seen in the last 2 years, although the number remains pretty less, near around 6 to 9 or 13, but the vacancies are regularly coming up. So keeping that in view, and also the views of the request of many of the student with respect to what is going to be the nature of the job, let me tell you, you do not get confused with what you see on the social media or in the movies regarding the intelligence services, the Family Man series, all that. The DCIO technical is basically a person who is responsible for the technical support, and not the like you what you say combat support. So in technical support, what you are going to deal with, you are basically going to be posted in more of a headquarters type of area, or wherein you have to go with the encryption, decryption, deciphering of the messages and all that. Yes, with respect to the remuneration, I would say that the salary is good enough, and you are paid allowances for each and everything. If you are called to work on the weekends or on the holidays or on the leave days, then you are paid for that. And also, if you are posted in the rugged terrain or some hostile areas, then you are given extra allowances for that. So remuneration is good. Above all that, you're not going to join this post just because of money, just because of the good allowances that it has along with it. But definitely, you have some inner intuitions to join this job. You have some motivation. You have some curiosity to join this job. Why? Because it is very interesting. The job, the nature of the job itself is challenging, interesting, as well as what you say कि एक तरीके से बहुत ही ज़्यादा exploring है. The things are going to be very new and very good experience for those who are going to join this. So you have to you would be having lots of power. Obviously, you have to be going to deal with the nuisances. Already, you have to filter out the communications. You have to infer the threat before it actually becomes a threat. So on in all that case, you will need support from the local agencies, the local police, the local administration. So you will be regularly in touch with the local administration, with the local SPs posted there, with the SDM and DM posted there. You will be holding a regularly meeting with respect to any perceived threat that you deciphered through any chat or through any communication or email. For example, you got an email threatening for a bomb attack. Let us take an example. So your role would be first to trace the IP from where the mail has been generated, and then based on the intel from the local team of that particular area, whether it is a hoax or it is the mail has some sort of genuinity that you have to verify, and then with the ground team available there, you have to intimate that the local authorities over there to be prepared for such kinds of threat. So again, some many of the candidate have asked, sir, what would be the like the threat to like openly speaking to my life. See, you might be aware, and you have seen so many cases in the previous past that in many incidents, have you ever heard about the death of any officer belonging to any intelligence service or somewhere? So the threat to life is like what we can say is like what I have gathered from our colleagues, not colleague, our friends, that it is not that you are going to a war zone. Okay, you just have to perceive the threat. That is your roles and responsibility. So you have to be intelligent, you have to be vigilant, you have to be working even in the off days and in the leave days, that you have to be prepared for. Apart from that, there is nothing to worry about this post. And yes, you have to keep your identity very secret. And that is also one of the protocol for your job, as well as for the protection of your families and friends. And that is why one of the incident I would like to share over here. One of my friend he is a DCIO, and when I talked to him, he said that we are even not allowed to go to the government officer and reveal where we are currently operating from which building, or where is our office located to, even to the government agencies as well. Uh, they were required to have a broadband connection, so they went to the BSNL authorities, and they did not mail them or write a letter regarding this is my location, you please provide a provider. So they go face to face, they talk with the authorities and said that they provided that the details, that there you have to come, then there you have to provide the internet. So that is the level of privacy or secrecy that you have to maintain. So above that, let me introduce you to the course that we are going to launch on the DCIO technical, because we feel that there are ample time from now on, even if the vacancies are going to come in the month of June and July, even though the examinations are going to be held in the month of October, or you say September or October near about. So almost you have 8 to 9 months. And in this way, we are going to, if we start from now on and covering single topic, we are going to cover it in a very what we say convenient manner, without any haste. So, before we introduce you the course on the DCI Technical, you may download our official app from the Google Play Store by typing just Ayu Pathshala on the console search bar, and you will be able to get the app there with the same logo as you see on the our YouTube channel or any other social media platform. Apart from that, let me tell you some of the point with respect to the course. You might be aware that this course comprises of the electronics sub subjects or topics from the electronics stream as well as the computer stream. So, if we divide the entire syllabus, that is the 13 uh, topics in it, without including the subtopics, if we see the 13 topics only, so what we find that some of the topics, 50-50% you can divide from the electronics and computer, and what it would be like very difficult for us, not for us, like for you to understand each topic to the level of gate examination. Why? Because see, if you are belonging from the electronics background, you will be easily understanding the electronics topic. And if I go on explaining the computer to that level of understanding of the that is required for cracking the gate examination, then it would require a whole lot of coverage to be done. And in that manner, you will have a lot of things to be understand and to revise and to remember. So that what we are not going to do. We are going to like prepare the structure of the course in a manner that we are going to deal only with those content which are suitable from the examination point of view, and also try to not make it too much lengthy on it. So yes, so what you can do, let me give you an example. For example, the communication system, if you are aware of the communication system topic, in the communication system there is two topics such as noise. There are topics such as random variables. These topics are very important from the gate examination point of view, but not so important from the DCIO technical point of view. Although, so we are not going to cover this topic. But yes, some process which is related to noise, such as strict sense stationary process. What is a stationary process? What is WSS, wide sense stationary process? That some topic will be covered in the miscellaneous topic that we are going to cover at the end of the course. So also, if you talk from the computer point of view, we have in the computer architectures we have some algorithms such as the Booth's algorithm, which is required like for multiplications of two binary numbers. Then we have the floating point representations. All that things and details are not going to be asked in the examination because of the lengthiness of the process, and that is the reason we are not going to cover that. So we are going to cover the important point. What we are going to cover, we are going to mention each and every topic that we are going to cover so that you also get a clear idea that what topics are covered and what topics are left. For the topic that are left, if you want, we can provide you the materials as well as the explanation in a separate video, but not in the course, to keep the content of the course precise and short. So what else is required before I introduce this course? You can do one thing. If you are from the electronics background, if you are from the electronics background, the topics that is covered in this course, you go through that. Apart from that, if you feel or if you are interested, you can go to your gate notes and complete the remaining topic. So for example, if you want to complete the noise and random variable, you go through the notes of your of the gates or a gate from the topic of communication, and then you can complete that topic if you want. Similarly, for the computer, if you are for the topics that are not from the computer section, you can cover that topic from this structure, from this course, and then the remaining topics which you think that is not being covered from the computer part, but so that you can cover that topic from the Gates syllabus or the Gates note, or you can also find the individual lectures on YouTube as well. So in that manner, you can cover 90 to 99% of the course from your respective stream. So for candidates who are belonging to the electronics, they can cover 90 to 99% of their courses of the syllabus from the from the electronics gate syllabus, and for the computer, they can cover in that manner from the gate syllabus of computer science. So does that mean that what we are going to cover will be insufficient for the examination point of view? No. What we are going to cover will be sufficient from the examination point of view. And if you even remember all the things that we covered in the examination, even 80% of that would be sufficient. 80% of what we covered, if you remember that, recall that, and reproduce that in the examination, that will be sufficient enough. But apart from that, if it is your choice, go much farther, much deeper in the courses, that is also allowed, but you can do that. So now, what would be the structure of the course, how we are going to deal, what topics we are going to cover. Let me introduce you that so that you have a clear picture. Let us be very transparent before we ask you to go and browse to the content of the course. Let me give you the topics that we are going to cover in that course. Starting from the topic number one, in electronic device and the circuit, we are going to cover the semiconductors. So, within this semiconductor, we are going to cover the basic properties of what is intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. Then, how the conductivity varies with respect to the temperature. What is the mobility of electrons and holes? That all things that we will be going to discuss over here. We will discuss the energy band concept, but that will be just an overview. Then, the numerical part from the intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors will not be dealt with because of the nature of the question that has been that gets generated, because you are not provided calculator in this DCIO technical examination. Then we will be discussing about the p-type semiconductor. What are the n-type semiconductors? Importance of the important point. There are one-liner factual questions about the how the thermal voltage varies, how the leakage current varies, all that thing we are going to discuss the important factual point, one-liner factual points as well. So no heavy numerical from this particular domain will be covered. Why? Because obviously again the if the question comes without the help of calculator, that cannot be done. So obviously that questions are not going to come. So this is what we are going to cover in the semiconductor. From the diode, we are going to cover the basic construction of the diode and its working, its VI characteristics, and what are the different types of the diode that I have mentioned separately because question has been asked from the varactors diode and the tunnel diode in the previous examination. So we are going to cover the types of the diode. But again, we are not going to cover from here the the clampers and the clippers circuit, that is not required. Then with the BJT, again, the NPN and PNP BJT, what is its construction? That means how the different junctions are arranged to form a BJT. Then what would be the modes of operation, basic configuration, and key concept point only will be discussed. Please remember the topics that I am mentioning, only that will be discussed. And apart from that, if any topic is important from the PYQs, if we filter out some of the topic, then obviously that will be covered in the miscellaneous topic that will be covered at the last. Then from the junction field effect transistor JFET, only the basic will be covered from here. And in the MOSFET also, we are going to cover the working principle and key differences between the JFET and the MOSFET, and the important exam oriented facts, that is one liner facts about the how the what is the difference between the JFET and MOSFET, N type, P type, what are the differences between them, that is what we are going to discuss. Again, no numerical will be covered from this particular domain. Moving to the digital electronics, what we are going to cover is the number system first of all, important hai. Then we are going to cover the logic gates. Then we are going to cover the Boolean algebra, uh, combinational circuit, especially in implementation parts. मक्स से कैसे हम एक particular expressions को implement करेंगे, that things we are going to cover. Also the sequential circuits, including the counters and the registers, that are also important. Then from the memories, we have questions been asked in the past from memories, as then SRAM, DRAM, then that will be covered. Importance for point from that. And from the machines also, Mealy Murray machines, some questions were seen in the previous past, so that part also will be covered. Only the important points and the working, not for the implementation, that for tracing out the sequence and all that, that will not be done. Okay, because that is not also required. So finite state machines will be discussed, specifically Mealy and Murray machines, and what are the difference between them, and that will be also discussed. Okay, now moving to the communication part. If we go to the communication part, we have the analog communication, wherein we are going to discuss the AM, FM, PM, basic modulation concepts and bandwidth concept, the heights of the antenna and all that. Then we have the radio receiver, where we are going to just discuss the block diagram of the radio receiver, specifically the super heterodyne receiver SHR, and what are the basic working principle and what are the role of each component. So you get an idea and overview about how these components are working when arranged in a particular sequence in a block diagram. Then we are going to cover the digital communication, wherein we are going to talk about the different PCM techniques. What are the pulse code modulation? What are quantization? What is sampling? That is what we are going to cover here. Then in digital modulation technique, we are going to cover the ASK, FSK, PSK, BPSK, etc. Okay, all that thing that we are going to cover. Noise, random variable, not going to cover. Some topics, some theoretical part, if required, will be again taken up in the miscellaneous part. So we have a miscellaneous topic. This miscellaneous topic we will be not discussing within the communication system, but we will take it as a separate topic, and from that we will be taking each topic from the main topics and put that in the miscellaneous group. Then moving to the signals and system, what we are going to discuss is the basics, fundamentals of the signals and system. What are the different types of signals? What are the basic system property, casual, non-casual, all that thing. Then we'll come to the Fourier series. The theoretical part is very important from the Fourier series, and also some expected questions from the Fourier series. That is, how do you recognize that? What would be the coefficient that are present in the series? That type of question that we are going to do. Then Fourier transform, obviously, the basics and the fundamentals we are going to cover. The Laplace transform, a region of convergence property and the basic properties, and the same thing from the Z transform, region of convergence, and how do we convert the Laplace transform to Z transforms, and how the convergence. How do we convert the Fourier into Laplace, and that thing that we are going to discuss. Basic properties and region of convergence is important. That is we are going to discuss. Again, in DTFT, only the basic properties will be discussed, and some of the very simple signals, that discrete signals, that Fourier transform of that will be discussing, and that will be highlighting to remember as well, so that in examination directly you can mark the option if it's come. Then some differences between the different DFT and FFT that we are going to see. Some properties and some like factual data that you have to understand about the DFT that we are going to cover. From the digital signal processing, we are going to cover the filters part, that is important. And in the filters, we are going to cover the different types of filters, such as the IIR filter, FIR filter, Butterworth filters, Chebyshev filters, and the basic characteristics and comparisons of different types of filters. What is their pole zero location, how the zeros are distributed, how the poles are distributed, that we are going to cover. Now, in the satellite communication and the radar system, we are going to cover this together. And we first, in the satellite communication, we will have an overview how the satellite communication take place. What is the base station? What is the why there is a frequency difference between the this uplink and downlink is being maintained. Then the different orbit, satellite orbit. What is the difference between the orbital velocity and escape velocity? What is the Kepler's law of planetary motions and different frequency band that are used in the satellite communication? When it comes to the radar system, we will be discussing about the basic of the radar system, how the radar systems come, how the transmitter and the receiver antenna transmit the signals. It detects, come back and detects, the same antenna detects the signal. That we are going to discuss the block diagram and the working principle. In the Doppler effect, what is Doppler effect? What it is application? What are the Friis transmission equations that we are going to discuss? What is the EIRP, effective isotropic radiated power? How it is related to the antenna gain and the power of radiation, that we were going to see. What is the path loss? What is the difference between the phase difference and the path difference, that we are going to cover. Then what is the pulse repetition frequency, and what is the how the repetition frequency determines that what range of the objects can be detected, and how fast the object is moving can be detected. So, moving next to the topic number six, where we are going to cover the wireless communication and network. Cellular structure, we are going to deal with the top concepts such as cell channels, what are the cluster. Then we have the frequency reusing techniques, what is the frequency reuse factor, all that. Then interference, we are going to talk about the co-channel and adjacent channel interference. How do we reduce that? Then in cell planning techniques, we are going to cover the cell sectoring, umbrella cell approach, advantages and its application. Then handoff or handover, we are going to talk about how it is done, what are the different techniques or different types of handoff, what are the different fading channels. We have the fast fading, slow fading, what are the differences between them, what is trunking and traffic analysis, how do the wave propagate. And here again we are going to talk about the phase difference, the path difference, the time delay, etc. What are the different access technology, that is we have the frequency division multiple access technology, we have the code division multiple access technology, we have the WCDMA technology. That all thing we are going to discuss. Then moving to the computer organization, we have the computer architecture basic, wherein we are going to talk about the different types of architecture that we have. Von Neumann architecture, Howard architecture, modified Howard architecture, etc. Then what are the different addressing mode we have: direct, indirect, register, index, relative, etc. Then we have the instruction format and instruction cycle. What are the instruction cycle? Fetch, decode, execute. That we are going to see. What are the different types of instruction format? That also we are one address, two address. That we are going to see. Memory concept. How, what are the memory hierarchies, locality of reference, what are the types of RAM, ROM, that we are going to see, and also the cache memory, where we are going to find out, calculate the numerical based on the cache memory, cache hit, cache miss, direct mapping, associative mapping, set associative mapping, and how the what are the replacement policies, such as the first in first out, last in first out, LRU, LFU, that we are going to see. In memory operation, or how the memory read techniques and write policies, what are the time taken to read a particular data from the memory, the numerical, based on that we are going to see. Then interrupts. What are the different types of interrupts? Difference between the hardware interrupts and software interrupts, maskable, non-maskable interrupts, priority and handling concept, that we are going to discuss. In the data transfer mode, we are going to discuss the programmed IO. What is the driven input output? What is direct memory access, DMA controller? That also we are going to cover. So coming to the operating system, you see, I am mentioning each and every topic. You can note it down also. The subtopics I have already mentioned over here. Basic of operating system, where we are going to cover the fundamental operating system concept, definition, and role of OS, basic functions of an operating system. Then we have the program execution, how the program is loaded, how it is executed. That we are going to discuss. Process management, what is process control block, components of the different process block, process control block, what are the status of the process, that is the new, ready, or it is running or terminated. That we are going to discuss. What is the difference between scheduler versus dispatcher? What is CPU scheduling? What is preemptive CPU scheduling and non-preemptive CPU scheduling? That we are going to discuss. Then there are different types of scheduling algorithm that we have, such as the FCFS, SJS, shortest job first, or we have the round robin technique of priority scheduling, that we also going to see. Then in the scheduling parameters, we have the different arrival time, burst time, completion time, turnaround time, time, that we also going to see. How the deadlock happen and what are the technique to avoid it. That is also the top going to be the topic of one of the topic of discussion. The data structure, we are going to cover the entire data structure, where we have the introduction part, where we are going to discuss with different types of matrices, what are the primitive and non-primitive data structure. Then we are going to discuss the linear data structure, such as the arrays, matrices and queues, stack and queues. Then we have the express notations, where we are going to talk about the infix, prefix notation, postfix notations, and how do we convert from one notation to another notation. In the trees, we are going to talk about the tree traversal, such as in order, pre-order, post-order. Then we have the different types of trees, binary search trees, and heap, all that we are going to cover. In the graphs, we are going to cover the basic representation of the graphs, types of graph, and how do the what are the different terminologies that are used in the graph, and graph traversal technique, specifically the breadth first and the depth first technique. Clear? In the computer network, we are going to cover the network topologies, mesh, star, all that. Then what are the types of different communication model that we have? Simplex, duplex, half simplex, that we are going to see. OSI model, all the seven layers we are going to discuss in detail. Layer-wise functionalities we are going to discuss, and as well as what are the protocols that works at each layers and how they work. What are the packet size? What are the header format? All that thing we are going to cover in here. Then also we are going to include in here. The LAN techniques, what are the class addressing, what are the IPv6 addressing, how we convert the IPv4 into IPv6, all that things that we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the internet protocol. Okay. Then comes the cybersecurity part, where we are going to talk about the cryptography. What are the different techniques of the cryptography definition? Symmetric cryptography, asymmetric cryptography. What are the public key versus private key cryptography? That all part we are going to discuss. What is cryptanalysis? How it is being done? Digital security mechanism. That is, we have the digital signature, digital certificate, public key infrastructure (PKI). What are the those things we are going to discuss? What are the different types of cyber attack? Phishing, malware, Trojan horses. Then we have denial of services. All that thing comes under cyber attack that we are going to discuss. Then what are the network security tools we have? For example, we have the VPN, we have the proxy, we have the firewall, we have the antivirus and all that. And miscellaneous topic from the cybersecurity, that is some important theoretical points and frequently asked conceptual areas from the current affairs that will be covered. Now, coming to the artificial intelligence, basic of the artificial intelligence, what is it? Definitions and scope, strong AI versus weak AI, that we will cover. Machine learning, what are the different types of machine learning? Supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement learning, that is covered. Then in the deep learning, we will be covering the difference between the machine learning and deep learning, neural networks, what are the layers and activation concept. In generative adversarial network GAN, we are going to cover the basic architectures of GAN. What is the difference between the generator and discriminator, and what are the applications area that are also we are going to see. In the transformer, we are going to see the how the transformer architecture is based on, what is attention mechanism, what is the application in the modern AI system. Then in NLP, we're going to see the different types of NLP, that is natural language processing. Then what are the different types of AI agent, and what are the different types of AI machines. Then in the last topic, Internet of Things, what we are going to cover, what are the basic of the IoT, that is the component of IoT systems, and the applications, and the structure, defined structure of the IoT. Then we have the IoT communication protocol. For example, we have IEEE 802.151.4 protocol. We are going to cover the Zigbee protocol, Z-Wave protocol, 6LoWPA and low power wide area network. Then we have the constrained application COAP protocol. Then we have IPv6 protocol for IoT, under the IoT communication protocol that we are going to cover over here. Also, we are going to cover the wireless technologies in the IoT, that we have the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC, RFID, and what are the different version of the Wi-Fi that we are going to cover. Then the advanced networking concept, we are going to focus on the SDN, yani कि software defined network, NNV, NFV, that is the network function virtualization, and how does it work, and what is the basic concept and relevance to IoT. That is what we are going to cover. So I have presented before you the holistically all the topics that we are going to cover, in this course, and I hope that this gives you a clear picture whether you should go for this course or not. Apart from that, we have at least 5 tests designed for you based on the PYQ patterns that will be added to this course. And to this course also we will be adding another topic, topic number 14, which will be miscellaneous. And in this miscellaneous, we are going to cover the remaining topic that is being selected from the PYQS. Those topics that are asked in the previous year examination, near about around that topics that will be covered in this miscellaneous part. So apart from all this topic, what we have the interview support as well for you, interview guidance for you along with this course, and also the 5 tests that is designed for based on the PYQs that has been asked, and the last year and the previous year patterns of question that has been asked in that pattern. This 5 tests that is also there. So is that course available as of now? No, the course is not available as of now. It is on the upcoming part. So you can download the Ayu Pathshala application from the Google Play Store, and the course, after receiving the feedback from you, the course is under process. We will be beginning it shortly, and yes, once it is the course, once the course goes live, we will intimate through our channel as well. So stay connected and good luck. Let us discuss and meet in the next video. Thank you.